about, then that's fine too.
All right.
But anyway, we can, so a little bit of history about espresso. If you don't know, I'm not going to go crazy on this, but espresso is actually more of a fairly new thing when it comes to the world of coffee. I don't, Greg would be able to whip out dates out of it, but I can't. But it was, you know, it was invented when they decided to put coffee under pressure. And
oh, really?
they found that it made a good, you know, a good cup of highly caffeinated coffee. So the first espresso machine that was made was actually a pull lever,
pull,
which
yeah.
where the term pulling a shot comes from.
All right.
So we obviously don't do that anymore. I mean, yours has a little more manual to it than most. Nowadays it's more like hit your button and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Which a lot of places have. So yeah, but anyway, to talk a little bit about like the actual coffee. So one misconception in the coffee world is that people assume, you know, espresso is a type of coffee, espresso roast, or you know, I just like espresso. Espresso is more just a brewing method.
Right.
So like we get that a lot, that people are like, well, you know, like I like espresso roast, and it's like, you know, I just like espresso blend. I like things bold, and I want it dark. And that doesn't really, I mean, it doesn't really mean anything that coffee has to be bold and dark when it goes through an espresso machine. Espresso is purely a shot of espresso. That's all, you know, that's all it means. So, are you joining us?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Sorry. Thanks.
Yeah, I have another one here.
Thank you.
So going off that, there's a couple different ways to. Sorry, my mask keeps falling. I'm not trying. There's a couple different types of espresso. When just kind of depends on where you are in the world, what kind of coffee shop you're at. What we do at Standing Stone is a true Italian espresso. So coffee is trendy. It's always changing. So people can always have their espresso like changing, whatever's going through the espresso machine. The espresso blend that we use at Standing Stone, and what you guys have here, is a base of a dark roasted Brazil. So that's 40%. 30% is a lighter roasted Colombia. 20% is dark roasted Nicaragua, and 10% is a light roasted Kenya.
Wow.
So the way that's designed is kind of this base. So the Brazil that holds that base is a yellow Bourbon coffee. So when you look at a coffee cherry on a tree, when it's ready to be picked, it's typically red. This particular coffee is yellow.
Oh wow.
And it's known to have more of an oil base when it's actually roasted. So we like that as the base of our espresso blend, because it adds a really nice crema to it.
Bags are falling off.
Okay.
No, it's just a potato chip bag jumping off there.
Time to escape. What do you think?
We're haunted.
Yeah, so we have that kind of baseline, and then the lighter roasted Colombia. So when you think about Colombia coffee, a lot of people like their Colombia coffee dark, which we have, but we also roast it lighter it brings out a lot of this like wininess. So like a red, kind of like a red fruit, a red cherry that adds that like almost like some dry tannins that you would get in wine. To the espresso blend. And then the dark Nicaragua is actually, it's the darkest coffee that I have. But it really adds that smoky base to it, like the tobacco, what you're looking for when you drink a shot of espresso. And then the light Kenya is this 10% on top. So if you actually smell a bag of light Kenya, it's so citrusy. Sometimes it smells like straight orange juice, like after it's roasted. But it provides the aromatics. So when you're drinking a shot of espresso, most people, you know, kind of are smelling it and drinking it at the same time, and it's kind of this full experience. And that light Kenya kind of finishes it off.
Very nice.
Yeah. Any questions about that? Okay. All right. So moving down, talk about grind. We do what is called a just-in-time grinding, which means it's used pretty much within 15 seconds after it's ground. The coffee should be fresh, should be within 2 weeks of being roasted, is ideal. So that when you're grinding coffee, the idea of brewing coffee is actually how much water is touching the surface of the coffee bean. So when you're doing something like a French press, you have that coarse grind. That's why the water sits in it so long. Because it's not getting as much surface area as that coarse grind. Because when you're pressing it down, you don't want the grinds to go into it. On the whole other spectrum, you have the espresso machine that adds the pressure, puts it under the pressure and allows it. I mean, it's only going through water for 20 seconds or whatever you choose to have. Is your machine timed, or do you do it?
We do it.
You do it. Okay. And do you have a time? Like, do you have
about 18 seconds is normally, I think that's what you taught us.
Yeah, it's
on this machine.
It's typically 18 to 24. It's all up to personal preference. I mean, we have some coffee shops that prefer longer shots, and that's how they serve it. So it's fun to play around with, and just kind of see. So for Greg and I, when we are either changing the espresso because a new coffee comes in or something, we actually will try it at 18 seconds, at 19 seconds, at 20 seconds.
Oh, nice.
Just to be able to compare what the difference is between an 18-second shot and a 24-second shot. So it's when you're putting it, putting the grinds in there, you want to, when it's before it's even tamped, you want to have 18 grams of coffee in it. Obviously, when your grind changes, that can change it. And then when it's coming out, you're going to have 2 ounces of espresso. Yep. Assuming you're using a double shot.
Yeah, we always use.
You always do double?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. So, moving on to a tamping, which so when you're tamping your coffee, you want to make sure that you have a 90-degree bend in your elbow so that you can just get pressure coming straight down, and it's going to be 30 pounds of pressure. So which is why I brought this. So you guys, do you use this at all?
We did have one
when you train. Yeah. I mean, we don't have it out all the time. It's just kind of, but it gives you a kind of an idea to, you want to press down just to
see what the
30 pounds?
try to do it.
Yeah, try to do it with a, so you can see.
I was always told 45.
Some people, different places do it different. Yeah.
Okay. We'll do hands-on. It's a nice small group.
Yeah. Just so you get the feel of what 35 is.
Cool. Like you said, you can kind of, you can pant more. It'll be It's all personal preference,
Mhm.
different. Like all of our, what we do for espresso is all based off of the Italian style of espresso. Just because that's what we prefer, and that's kind of how we, you know, designed our menu and whatnot. So, yeah. Alright. So why don't can we pull some shots? And
Oh,
see?
I'd love to, yeah.
Let's do a fast shot,
Yeah.
and then we'll do a long shot and see if you can taste the difference. I think I have espresso in the car I can replace.
Oh, it's okay.
Yep. So when you're doing it, it's nice to kind of level it off, making sure it's all around there. Doing your 30 pounds, making it flat. I always kind of spin it a little bit so you can see these cracks are coming out because that was wet. So
Oh yeah, you always want to keep that dry.
yeah, we'll tap it down once. And then we'll tap out that excess.
And then it's always good to blow this thing out when you, yeah. 'Cause sometimes there's grinds on top there.
Yep.
You know.
It's not self-cleaning.
This isn't self anything, this machine.
It still works.
Yeah.
Go for it.
You're
Alright, so let's pull a fast shot. So we'll do these are only two.
was it?
These are only two shot glasses. Like ours is at the shop. Muscle memory. So you're a tea drinker? You drink anything? How boring. So how boring. Let's do this one. Remember which one was mine and yours. We don't need to share COVID. Okay, so I'm stopping it because I actually think your grind is too coarse.
Okay.
Because that was only 12 seconds and you wanted to sit right here at this one shot line. So, I don't know, what time is it? Alright, 4:20. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes. So
Alright.
how about Sonia jumps on and actually pulls a shot, and then we'll talk through milk and try to
let's
build,
do it.
Build a latte.
Yep.
Okay?
You want to do it?
Sure.
You're the new one. The newest.
Have you been making drinks? How long have you been making drinks?
Like a month, I want to say. Cool. Are you using these to rinse it out?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that's fine. popular espresso drink that you serve here?
Plain espresso or espresso break?
I mean, like
A latte
like
or
lattes, mochas,
Lots of lattes.
a lot of flavor lattes.
And like a decent amount of cream.
so we want to make this level
Oh,
with the
yeah.
top.
Yeah, because the grad's finer now,
Yeah.
it'll tamp down. Before when it was coarser,
Yeah, it
it
didn't
wouldn't
push
tamp
now.
as
Yep.
far.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's good. And then you could just scrape it off
Yep.
over that, just to level
Yep,
it
so you don't
out.
want to put any pressure on it until it's actually off. So just
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. 30 pounds.
So go and tap out the excess over. It won't fall out. There you go.
If it does fall out, it means you didn't tamp it
Didn't
high
tamp it.
enough.
Yep.
We're gonna time it.
Yeah, I can. I don't have mine on. Ready?
Ready, go. Dun, 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 dun. We're looking for like 23 seconds. Looks pretty good.
Get the back one's not as full.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put that on.
Wanna grab the milk?
Yeah.
Gotta shake our milk nowadays. Get the cream off the top.
Cool. So the thing about milk is when it gets heated,
Mhm.
the milk, the fat proteins actually expand. So you can see that when you put the milk in here and you steam it, it's gonna rise. So as a business owner, the number one thing you want to make sure of is that you're not wasting milk.
Mm-hmm.
Greg likes to tell us how many dollars we put down the drain every year.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot. Thousands
Yep.
and thousands of dollars. I mean, even if you waste 1 ounce for every drink we make, it's thousands and thousands.
Yeah, I mean we're selling thousands
So,
of drinks.
yep. So,
Save the cows.
well, I mean, right now they're dropping down the drain anyway, I guess. So. Should see what kind of coverage. But anyway, so the idea of steaming is you want to start with the steam wand the whole way in at the bottom of the milk.
It is good on this one to blow it out first,
Yeah.
because a lot of water accumulates in there. Watch that. Whoa, and I got you. Sorry.
Yeah. So if you start with the steam wand in, and if you bring it to the top and kind of burp it a little bit, and then you let it froth at the top, what you want to see in your cup is a whirlpool. You want the milk to be going in the same direction,
Mhm.
rather than like bubbling like something you would see in a microwave, if that makes any sense. So that's just going to add a nice flow to your milk and allow the cream to really
Mhm.
thicken, I guess, all of the same consistency. So, side note, I don't actually work behind the counter. So, I make like 1 latte every 6 months when they pull me in to help because it's busy.
Mhm.
But I know the basics. But so the idea is to get your milk to 165 degrees. Do you guys use thermometers?
Yep. Right.
You have one? Okay.
Yep.
You don't have to. You can. Knowing that a thermometer runs a little behind, you'll want to stop it when it gets to about 145, knowing that it's going to then reach 165. So I might be. Is that,
Yeah, no, it takes a second to open. No, you're good. Just
I was
keep
good?
going. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
okay. Actually see what I'm doing, so let's see what's actually it's at 163. We're pretty good,
Nice.
but it's thin. So the idea when you're doing latte art, is that something you guys try to do here?
Sometimes.
Yeah. You want the consistency of the milk to be the same consistency as the crema that's on the espresso. So when it's going into a cup, my milk is way too thin, it's not going to do anything. But when you're pouring the milk into try to get latte art, what you want to do is actually, when the milk pours into the cup, you want it to sink to the bottom, and what it's going to do is then come up and start to mix. So as it's pouring, you'll be able to see that the thickness of the froth milk at the top will then, there's like a point where you're going to notice that you're going to be able to start drawing. And I don't have any of that here, but you can kind of see that at this point, you can kind of see how my hands went. There's nothing. I will try again, but don't share the video.